Welcome back, Reign of Terror, and big welcome to our newest member, Greg, who hopefully will be better at paying money than one of our previous members. I'd like to welcome you guys all to the 2015 season, and without further ado, we're going to go over the draft. So Dingleberry's picked first in our draft. Yahoo gave him a draft grade of B. Actually, across the board, Yahoo's draft grades were very much the same for everyone. The highest grade was a B+, and the lowest grade was a C-. Yahoo draft grades, as I mentioned before, are kind of inaccurate because if you just auto-drafted their highest pick every time, you'd probably end up with a really good grade. You wouldn't get a really high grade unless someone did something really stupid. As for the Fantasy Pros ranks, those are a little bit more accurate, but they put too much weight on things like defensive teams and kickers. So if you draft the number one kicker or the number one defensive team, you get a little bit more points, as opposed to, it should be weighted heavier if you drafted the number one running back or wide receiver. As for Mike's team, it looks pretty strong. He's got Matty Ice. He got Eddie Lacy with the first pick. He chose that over Adrian Peterson. He's got Cobb and Jeffrey, very solid receivers, but a little bit of injuries there. And his bench looks pretty good. So I think overall, Mike's got a good team again. So Kevin drafted number 2. He got a Yahoo draft grade B and a Fantasy Pros rank 4. Quick thing I need to point out, if you see how the quarterback number 10, quarterback number 15, that's the week 1 projections from Fantasy Pros, and I don't think they reset after Tom Brady's suspension got lifted, so it's a little screwed up. He actually auto-drafted Adrian Peterson because he got on just in time. His team's a little iffy. I don't know about some of these guys. Forset's aging. I'm not sure how good of a year he's going to have. I think AJ Green will have a bounce-back year. Vincent Jackson, I've been screwed by that guy before. I wouldn't draft him. Bennett's, he's consistent. Marshall, I don't know. He's kind of injury prone. It seems like he's past his prime. So I'm not sure about Kevin's team overall. So Greg drafted 3rd. Yahoo gave him the lowest draft grade, a C-, and Fantasy Pros rank of 7. He got Aaron Rodgers, who I think is going to have a great year. Jamal Charles was the number 1 pick. Doug Martin, there's a lot of sides to this story. It seems like a lot of people don't like him because they've been burned before, but he showed up in shape to training camp. Jordan Matthews should have a really good year under the Chip Kelly system. If Edelman can get healthy, he's going to have another great year. And Devontae Adams is going to be Jordy Nelson's replacement, hopefully, with, at the very least, he's got Aaron Rodgers throwing to him. So I don't agree with the Yahoo or Fantasy Pros rankings for this team. Picking 4th was Mark Wilforks Chode. Yahoo gave him a draft grade of B, Fantasy Pros rank 5. He actually drafted Andrew Luck surprisingly early. Mark doesn't usually go for quarterbacks that early. He must be feeling it. Latavius Murray was another reach on his part. I'll go over reaches in another video because they're kind of interesting. Alfred Morris, he's got consistency, and Mark had to draft his number 1 guy, Antonio Brown. Andre Johnson thinks he's going to have a good year, and Keenan Allen. I actually wanted to get this guy on my team, even though he kind of burned me last year. So, Mark wasn't too happy with his team, but I think it looks pretty consistent overall. So my dad showed up on time this year and was able to connect to the Wi-Fi. He had all kinds of nice spreadsheets and stuff, and it looks like it paid off. Yahoo and Fantasy Pros ranked him very high. Ben Roethlisberger, I think he was a little bit overdrafted this year, but he's consistent. C.J. Anderson's definitely going to be hit or miss. He could have a very big year or a very Monty Ball kind of year. Joseph Randall's got the Dallas offensive line working for him. Dez and T.Y., if they can get healthy, they're going to be 2 solid receivers. Kelsey needs to get healthy. As for his bench and his backups, he's got a lot of aging guys here, but he'll be able to plug one of them in each week, and hopefully they'll pay off for him. Picking 6th was Chicago's own 2 Live Jew, and he was tied with my dad for the highest combined Yahoo Fantasy Pros draft grade. He had Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback, who I think is going to have a good year. 2 strong running backs, if they can both stay healthy, Lynch and Forte. Mike Evans, hopefully he's going to benefit from having a new quarterback. Manuel Sanders, we'll see how well Peyton Manning does this year. I like Amari Cooper a lot. I think he's going to have a breakout year. As for the guys on his bench, these are a whole bunch of guys that are on my no draft list, especially Percy Harvin. Fuck you, Percy Harvin. It's my team, Chip Kelly Slaves. I drafted 7th, which I don't like. Yahoo gave me a B. Fantasy Pros punished me with a 9 for not drafting a defensive team. Sorry, Fantasy Pros. Russell Wilson, I got him kind of late. It doesn't seem like a lot of people were high on him this year, but he's going to rush those touchdowns in. I really like Lamar Miller this year. I think he's going to have a breakout. Drafted Le'Veon Bell, who's going to be on vacation for a little while, so Andre Ellington will be filling in for him. Demaryius Thomas came in fat, but hopefully he lost that weight. Brandon Cooks should have a good year because Drew Brees doesn't have anyone else to throw to. Golden Tate was my guy last year. Let's hope he can repeat that performance. And I got a bunch of wide receivers on my bench, so you guys can trade when yours go down. Picking 8, we had the ultimate troll, Austin. Yahoo gave him the highest grade, B+, but Fantasy Pros disagreed. They gave him an 8 for some reason. Let's see. Drew Brees. He's going to be missing Jimmy Graham this year, but he'll probably pick it up. Frank Gore, not a big fan. Giovanni Bernard, I don't remember what this guy did last year. Calvin Johnson, he's got all the equipment to be great again, but hopefully they won't be draining his knee every game. Deshaun Jackson, I would never draft that guy. Gronk's got Brady back. And John Brown, I think, is going to be a good prospect for this year. That's a good pick. And when Arian Foster comes back, if he does, well, Austin's got him and his handcuff available. Picking 9th was Ryan, the Huevos. That means eggs. He got a Yahoo draft grade of C. Fantasy Pros ranked him 10, probably because he didn't have a defensive team like I did. He's got the lowest combined score, but I don't think his team's that bad. He's got Tony Romo, maybe a little bit early on that pick. Jeremy Hill should have a good season, even though I've heard mixed things. Mark Ingram's got a new system working for him in New Orleans, but I think this could be a breakout year for him. Julio Jones I really like this year. He's going to be healthy, and he's got a big contract. DeAndre Hopkins, not sure about the quarterback situation. He'll be seeing a lot of double coverage this year, but if he can get the ball, he'll be good. Jordan Cameron should have a rebound year. I like Jarvis Landry a lot in Miami's system. And Ryan's got a solid bench, too, except for TJ Yeldon, because we all saw what happened with Toby Gerhart last year. Picking last was the reigning defending world champion, Brian. Yahoo draft grade, B- in the Fantasy Pros #1 rank. Peyton Manning, I've heard mixed things, but you can't rule this guy out ever. DeMarco Murray, he doesn't have that Dallas offensive line. Let's see how well he does now. Shady McCoy, he's a Buffalo Bill. Well, he's still a very talented running back. Odell Beckham, this guy might continue to shine, or he might have a sophomore slump. Sammy Watkins, he's injury prone, but if he stays healthy, he's going to be a beast. Jimmy Graham, let's see how he does as a Seahawk with Russell Wilson not throwing to him. And Steve Smith, he's an older fella, but you can never rule that guy out. And I really like Brian's bench. He's got 3 really strong wide receivers. I like Larry Fitzgerald this year, Wheaton, and Terrence Williams. And, of course, he had to take Raging Ray Rice, namesake. So that will do it. And that's all the teams. Sorry this video is a little bit long, but they won't be in the future. I want to do power rankings week 2. I don't know if I'm going to be doing as many recaps as I did last year. I've got school now, so I don't have as much free time on my hands, unfortunately. But I got some new ideas for videos, and I think this is going to be probably the most competitive fantasy football league I've ever been in. You guys are all veterans, very talented folks, and remember to pay me